training builds you up, races break you down.
For the hardcore 100 kilometres, it's really a total of 105k because it's made up of 5 laps, each of which is 21 kilometres. The lap starts heading straight up Flinders Peak. Once at the top, runners turn around and head straight back down. From there, they head out on some nice rocky single track, then up a steep climb, across the saddle, down some technical sections before it opens up to some smooth fire trail. At 9 kilometres, hit the first aid station on the lap, and out the back loop brings the runners back past the same aid station, a little bit past 12 kilometres, out around the perimeter of the Yangs Regional Park, before the trail turns upward, going past Big Rock, and eventually reaching the end of the lap. I approach the hardcore 100 kilometres very differently than how I've done any other big race in the past. And that difference is, I only decided 6 days out from the race that I would give the 100 kilometres a go.
Off to the shops to get some nutrition for this race. Now I had enough left over from training in previous races to get through maybe a 42k race, but with the change to 100k, definitely don't have enough.
Originally I was looking at the 42 kilometre distance, and there's something about the 100 kilometres that just sang to me. I knew my training wasn't where it should be for doing 100 kilometres. In the previous 2 months, I'd only had 3 runs beyond 20 kilometres. 2 at 21, 1 at 25. And they were slow. The race has a subdued vibe, and I quite like that. It's a very understated style of event, and to me that's really appealing. It goes away from some of the artificial hype that you get at some races where they really try and force it.
Get him! Por ahí que lo.
I knew the preparation wasn't there. So I went in with different goals than I normally would for this race. In this race, I really wanted to test where my training was at, with the full expectation that it wasn't going to take me through to the whole distance.
5k in, a bit over 40 minutes, and I forgot how hard the actual start was. Flinders Peak is hard going down. The big steps, that's going to have an impact on my legs. So I need to be smart in my descent. That is Flinders Peak. It's where I've just been. How you doing? So 10k in, just shy of 80 minutes. That's all the technical stuff done for this lap. Most of it's nice, fairly smooth fire trail. That first section though, even hiking the hills and trying to take it easy, heart rate way up. This is one of those grades that's a bit more than a false flat. It's that tricky bit. Feels like I should be running it, but I think my pacing is going all right, and I wouldn't mind recovering a bit from the technical section. So I'm going to walk it, at least on the first couple of laps. We'll see where I am later in the race. Send it, smash it, go hard, go home. Well, they've got its places, and probably we'll have to call on that later in the race, but in these early stages I'm just trying to find a place of relaxation, almost moving meditation. Get in the zone, keep it feeling comfortable, moving efficiently. That's the goal anyway. Well, this is going to be eerie at night, especially if the fog comes in. Heart rate doesn't seem to be working properly. That's Big Rock. Nearing the end of the first lap. Watch says 20k. I think it's given me slightly short, so got a bit less than a k to go to the finish of this lap, and then I head back up there. I may have pushed it a little bit hard on the technical terrain on that first lap, so my aim for lap 2 is just to take it a little bit easier in the technical stuff, see where that gets me. Okay. Looks like the race leaders of the 42k are starting to come through. They started an hour later.
So I put some caveats on what I was going to do. One was that the race wasn't going to destroy me and put me out for a month of training. I wanted the running to feel like running. I was going to hike almost all the hills, and hopefully that would give my legs enough of a break that I could maintain some good running form on the downhills and flats. And where I wanted to find was where that decoupling point is on the ability to maintain the running pace and where it falls off. I wanted to know how big that fall off was.
Right, just past 10k point on the second lap. I'm about 8 minutes behind the time I was in the first lap. Now, part of that is the aid station time, which I think was about 4 minutes, and a bit of a toilet stop, and taking it easy up Flinders Peak, or relatively up. The wind just picked up and it's really icy, so gloves have gone back on.
Place with the fort. Remember the fort? Yeah, that's not connected to the fort. One of the bays that we...
I came in just trying to walk up. And then I was last break fishing.
I'm learning that if you don't do the training that 100k truly needs, that breakdown point comes earlier in the race than you really want it to. I'm a bit past 51 kilometres in and about 7 hours 40, which makes it 3:40 p.m. Now, sunset was meant to be at 5:20 with last light about half an hour later, but it's already starting to get quite dark. Cloud cover's moved in and it's looking pretty grey, so my money is on going to get wet soon. I think it's going to be a cold one tonight. And it started raining. It's a little bit light, 58 kilometres into the race, and that temperature has dropped. So I've got a jacket back on. I think when I hit the end of this lap, I'm going to change into the better jacket and probably put a long sleeve on underneath. Beanie back on, gloves, and the sun will be down then, so head torch. I'm actually considering putting on the full pants as well. I think I prefer to be too hot than too cold. Too cold could make this race really, really ugly. 5:20, sunset. It's actually a bit bland, which is a little disappointing, but I'm not here for the sunset. Yeah, I'm still on lap 3. I think I'm around, I don't know, I need to check. Hang on. Yeah, somewhere past 19 kilometres, which means I've got less than 2k left for this lap, and this lap has taken me forever. At least I'm getting my money's worth today. Oh, bonus, stopped raining.
Well done.
Thanks, Brett. You know, after you finish a marathon, it becomes really hard to walk downstairs. Really struggling here. I think lap 4 is going to take me significantly over 4 hours for the 21k. They'll bring me up to 84, but the brutality of the steps, particularly all the downhill, it's really caught up with the no training. I don't know what to say now.
Lap 4 took over 5 hours and I walked pretty much the whole lap. I couldn't see how I was going to force any more running into the final lap, and I wasn't here to walk 100 kilometres. I wasn't here to prove to myself that I could complete 100 kilometres. I was here to see where my training was at, how my body responded, where the breaking point was in my running and conditioning. And I had found that. So I pulled out at the end of lap 4. So how do I feel? In the moment, it still hurts. It still doesn't feel right not to finish that race. I'm happy with where I am. I'm comfortable with that DNF. It's not something I want to create a habit with. I covered 84 kilometres. I ran some parts really well. I've got an idea exactly what I need to do in my training for preparation for my big goal this year. I'm happy, I feel good, and the effort hasn't knocked me down too hard. It's just walking's hard for the first couple of days after this race, but I'm good to get back to training. Keep on running.